Hello everyone, Frank Demore with the second video for March the 30th of 2012. And we're going to get right into the prophecy here. But before I get right into that, I just want to tell you that when you go to my site, you can click this link right here and you'll be able to download my documentary today for free. I'm going to get into a prophecy that is in Revelation chapter 13, verses 16 through 17. And in this scriptures, we are told, I'm going to give it to you in a nutshell here. Jesus showed us in the last days when the Antichrist comes, he's going to obviously control the world. How is he going to do that? Well, the Lord shows us that the Antichrist will be putting a mark in the right hand or in the forehead. And the people who don't take this mark, you'll see this in the Bible, who don't take the mark, they will be hunted down and killed. And we know that they're beheaded because they refuse to receive the mark. And you'll see that in Revelation 24. And so it's important to understand that the developments that are going to give the ability for the Antichrist to rise as the one world leader who will be instituting this mark of the beast, which you'll find in Revelation chapter 13. Now, there are many signs that the one world government is coming to play, and obviously you see the signs of the one world currency that will be established. Over the years, if you read my book, you'll see the different stages that we've been going through to bring us to this one world government. We'll see a one world currency, and then at the tribulation period, we will see that there will be a currency or a system born that will be put in your right hand or in your forehead, and you won't be able to buy anything or sell anything unless you had this. So there's a new development going down now. I told you that the America would lose power because America is not in one of the prophecies, for example, in Daniel, where it outlines every one of the world empires from Babylon when Nebuchadnezzar was king and Daniel was alive when he got the vision, all the way to the end times where the Lord comes back. This is all in the scriptures. I'm not making this up. The Lord will be coming back when the Antichrist comes back, or when the Antichrist is here, and the Lord will come back and defeat him and put him away. So there's going to be a one world domination, and we're seeing now new developments for the decline of America. The dollar will die, and it will speed up the process of this one world currency. Now, here's some information that I wanted to play for you about BRICS. And instead of me explaining it to you, there was a news broadcast that they give you some information that I'm just going to play for you. Hi everyone, this is Frank Demore with the last Chronicles of Planet Earth. And today... Wrong one. Sorry. That was the video that I gave earlier today. Here we go.
To talk more about the rising power of the BRICS, Andrew Gavin Marshall, project manager at thepeoplesbookproject.com, joins us now. Welcome to the show, Andrew. So tell us about the significance of this summit.
Well, creating alternatives, like an alternative to the World Bank, possibly the IMF, this is an important sort of stepping stone for the BRICS nations.
All right, let me stop it there. Now, the IMF is the International Monetary Fund. This is a strong organization, and this is who he's referring to.
Coming into their own in the international arena, and specifically the realm of global governance. Now, the question is whether or not these become alternatives or simply reforms to the system of global governance already being evolved. For example, a lot of the reforms that you're talking about, new global reserve currency, these have been in the plans of Western elites and institutions for decades. Even Timothy Geithner, the U.S. Treasury Secretary in 2009, said that they're open to the idea of a global reserve currency, but that this process has to be evolutionary. Now, the IMF has its special drawing rights, SDRs, which are being set up to be a global reserve currency. The G20 decided that in 2009. And of course, the BRICS nations are already members of the Bank for International Settlement, Western-dominated institution. So whether or not they create an alternative or simply create reforms to what exists, that I think is the real question.
Now, they are expected to sign an agreement allowing their individual banks to extend credit to other members using their own currency. So would you say that this is a step toward replacing the dollar?
An evolutionary step, yes. I mean, China and Russia already have agreements to exchange in their own currencies. China and Japan even are creating these type of exchange scenarios. So it's deep.
Okay, I'm going to stop that there, because if you're new to my site and you haven't heard this before, yesterday in my site, now when you go to my site, you just keep scrolling down and you're going to be coming to information about the trade agreement between Japan and Russia and India and Iran, and they're working towards a new system. They want to dump the dollar, and this is all part and parcel for the decline of America, to bring about, we believe, the Antichrist, the new system, and the global currency that will be replaced by some kind of mark that the one world leader, the Antichrist, will be giving. But I just wanted to give you a little background in case you didn't understand what he was talking about. So let me go on.
Increasing the role of the U.S. dollar in foreign reserves, in exchange reserves, so that these countries will be less dependent upon the U.S. dollar itself to trade on various goods and currencies. And that's symbolic of the decline of the U.S. dollar in global markets. It's sort of a type of rebalancing of the poles of power in the world. But the currency system itself is what is in need of total overhaul. I mean, the fact that they're simply reducing the role of the U.S. dollar does not exactly solve the problems of the global fractional reserve central banking system.
Another big announcement that they are expected to make is that all these countries are planning to form this joint development bank. How do you think that this bank could rival the World Bank?
Well, it would give better terms and fair conditions to those who use the bank, specifically these countries. It would be beneficial to them in their own economic interests. It would be incredibly attractive to so-called third world nations, because they would likely lend on better terms than the World Bank ever has. And so I think ultimately this type of bank, the West will probably try to undermine this scenario. It doesn't exactly fit in with their plans for the world. So I think you'll try and see some reform. You'll see some attempts at reforms within institutions like the World Bank and IMF, which have already begun to a small degree, such as giving more seats to China and India on the IMF. But they'll try and bring the BRIC nations more firmly within the framework of global institutions that already exist. By creating a sort of development bank for the BRICS nations themselves, that would be a type of alternative which could potentially be very beneficial to them.
Now, a criticism that this group often gets is the fact that they're so different. They're on different continents, very different economies, different governments. Critics say that BRICS, it's nothing more than an acronym, but do you think that these countries will be able to find enough common ground?
Well, of course, they have enough common mutual interests. I mean, the idea that China, because it's totalitarian, and Brazil, because it's democratic, can't find common ground. Well, China and the United States are heavily interdependent and have been for several decades. The United States trades with totalitarian governments all over the world. There's no reason why Brazil can't do the same, or India can't do the same. It's sort of just another type of rhetorical ploy in the media, I think, to just undermine the efforts at potential alternatives.
And speaking of the media, Andrew, want to ask you, this is a huge...
Now, please listen to this question she's going to ask him, because this is important.
Huge implications for the world economy, but there's not much talk about it in the mainstream media. Why not?
Well, the mainstream media isn't there to talk about information and issues that exist and are important and people should know about. The mainstream media is there to entertain, to misinform and miseducate, and to essentially distract people. So the way that they frame the issues, that's what you're supposed to be focused on. Other major developments in the world, just don't pay attention to them, because then people won't exactly know what's going on, and it's easier to control a population if they don't know the actual situation and issues in the world.
All right.
So the Western media has no interest in educating the public.
And we are going to talk more about that throughout the show.
All right, so you have that information, and a lot of people wondering what are the nations again who are in this new development, and what does BRICS stand for. So you see Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. And of course, it's 75% of the foreign reserves worldwide. So it's it would be a massive organization. But let me just say here, because this is the bottom line to all this, these are going through stages, bringing about developments that will finally come to fruition when one man will control all of the banks, and he'll control all of the world's economy. We know this from Revelation chapter 13, verse 16 through 17, when the Lord said, nobody will buy. When he says nobody, no one will buy or sell, lest he have the mark of the name or the number of the beast. So these are heavy, heavy developments, just showing us that the word of the Lord is coming true. And if you don't believe it, just stay tuned, because in the near future you're going to see more news. You're going to see more about a one world currency and getting rid of the dollar. So at this point, all I can say is watch the news, be on your toes, because the Lord told us, watch, keep ready. And if you love the Lord, you'll do what he asks.